Welcome to Bird Seeds. Thank you guys, as always, for listening. I swear I say the same thing when I start every single time. Not intentional. I don't plan that. It just is what it is. Anyway, we're going to wrap up the JAMMIN mini-series inside the series here. So we've covered JAMMIN. We've covered every aspect of it. We're going to go to the N, which is novel, which is short for reading, and we're going to dive into that. But let's go through how we got here. So we start with the J. The J is journaling. Did a much better job last week of actually doing that. Mentioned that I struggle with that. It is super valuable and effective. I did a better job at that. I'm going to keep that up. A is for aqua. Did a great job with hitting my hydration goals last week. Fantastic. First M was mindfulness, meditation. Pretty good job. Didn't hit it every single time I wanted, but I did pretty good. Second M was movement. I did a great job with my steps, getting my movement in. Then we did I for intentionality. So again, making sure that your day is optimized, it's planned. You're hitting about 80% capacity. You're trying to make sure move things around on the fly, looking at the day for what's already scheduled and trying to fill in the blanks. It did a really good job of that. What I didn't mention last week that I did notice this morning, today's Monday, this will come out Wednesday evening. Today's Monday when I did my intentionality for Monday, and I forgot to mention this last week, was on Mondays, intentionality has a whole other level to it. I plan the week out. Doesn't mean every day I don't look at it. Doesn't mean I don't get into the day. But starting off on Mondays, I plan the week out. So I move those things that are not permanent, they have to happen. They're the items that I have to check off the to-do list, but they don't have a specific time. Recording the podcast, that went in. There's flexibility. I actually said I was going to do it at 4, forgetting the kids get off the bus at 4. And when they come in the house, it's chaotic. There was no way I was going to get to record this at 4. So I moved something. I was going to go to Home Depot later before I went to hockey practice. I flipped that. I went to Home Depot, got some drywall mud, came back, ate dinner. Now I'm recording this. So you got to have some flexibility. But then I looked at when I'm going to squeeze in my cryotherapy, when I'm going to get my walks in for the week. So now they're in those days. And then when I get to that day, I can prioritize and move things around to make sure it's the most efficient and effective use of my time. So the other big thing, so we've hit now JAMMIN, now we get to N, novel, reading. I might have stretched some of these acronyms out a little bit. But why, when I decided I wanted to be intentional in my day, I wanted to make sure that my well-being was a checklist. Why did I put reading on there? Well, there could have been some inspiration from the Miracle Morning, because he talks about reading. That was part of it, for sure. And it's just something I had generally tried to get back into. Frankly, going to the beach, and my favorite thing to do at the beach is sitting under the tent with a book and a speaker and a beverage and do nothing. Absolute favorite thing. Love reading books, and I had been reading a lot of biographies or stories about people, and that's great, and there's a lot of self-help books and all that kind of stuff. But I wanted to get more into reading on a daily basis, not just on vacation. And as I started getting into it, and I do audiobooks, and there's a difference. I'm going to get into why there's a difference between an audiobook and a physical book, and they both have their great place. They both are super valuable. But for me, part of this whole goal is stillness. Calming the mind, being still, being in the moment, not living in the future, not living in the past, not being depressed, as I've talked about, past is depression, the future is anxiety, not being in either of those two worlds, being in the now. Listening to an audiobook is great. I do that while I drive. It's kind of like listening to a podcast, whatever. It's wonderful. If I get distracted, I can rewind, and I do that all the time. It's okay, right? It's happening around me. I can pause it. I can do whatever, right? Sitting down on a chair or on a couch or laying in bed or whatever it is with a book in front of you forces you to remove all distractions and be in the moment with the story that you're reading or whatever you're reading, the lessons you're reading, the story you're reading. I find personally that the self-help books, those motivational books, are better for me in audio format. They keep my attention a little bit better. But I find that novels or those kind of stories are really much better for me and the way my brain works when it's a physical book in front of me. A lot of people draw, and I don't really do that. I don't know why. I guess school beat it into me. Don't do that. I've never done it. I'm a fold the page over on the corner versus a bookmark kind of guy. Always have been. But I'm telling you, when I just sit there and I dedicate 15 or 20 minutes a day to picking up the book, catching up on the story, getting to a natural stopping point, closing it down, it forces me to be in that moment. It's awesome. So what am I reading right now? Well, we know that on the audiobook, I'm just finishing up 10% Happier. Love it. On the physical book, I'm about 2/3 of the way through 1984 by George Orwell. Maybe not the best book to be reading in this time of our civilization, of our society, because it's scarily accurate in some ways. But it's a book I've always wanted to read, and I never read it. So I'm reading it. It's awesome. It's a really good book. I don't love the writing style. Like, the content's awesome. I don't really love the way it's written. It's sometimes hard to sort of keep my focus, but it's okay. I'm dedicated to doing it. And I have no shame to go back a couple paragraphs. But I just read that. I have no idea what I read. It's the same as meditation in that way, right? If your mind wanders in meditation, you acknowledge it, start again. No judgment. Start again. Wanders, start again. Wanders, start again. I feel like meditation and reading really do go hand in hand in that way. So I'd love to hear from you what books you read, what books you're reading now, what books you've read, what your recommendations are. About 2/3 of this book. I probably get another week or so at my 15, 20-minute clips. And I'll need another book. I would love your recommendations. Let me know. Shoot me a message on social media or whatnot. I would love to hear it. Absolutely. Thank you again for listening to Birdseeds. I hope the JAMMIN miniseries has been helpful to you. I'm going to throw a call out right now as well. Is there anybody that is wanting to build a portfolio booster, that wants to do an app? Just a real simple, basic app that just does the daily well-being checklist. I'd love to build something out like that. Just something, if there's a college student that just wants it as a project or something like that, that'd be perfect. I don't have any intention to really monetize it. I mean, I'd love to down the road if people used it and liked it, but I'm just looking for something simple for me. So if there's anybody out there that wants to just boost their portfolio, build their resume up, and just build a simple app, hit me up. Would love to talk to you about it. Thanks again for listening, Birdseeds. We're going to move back into traditional topics last week, but let me know what part of JAMMIN you've added, if it's the whole thing or part of it, and how it's affected you. Thanks for listening. Have a wonderful day.